I do my best.
So also, just for clarity here, the April 11th and April 18th city council meetings are scheduled for the theater at the Terrell Public High School. So that's not the big PAC up front, right? The theater is where you go inside the high school and it's the older 1,000-room or 1,000-person venue that's on the interior of the high school, not the PAC. That's where the 11th and 18th are. So again, happy to take everybody's public comments. The 11th and 18th meeting are over at the Terrell High School, inside the high school.
Is it at the same time? 6 o'clock.
That is correct. It is 6 o'clock. Go ahead and. All right, at this time, the mayor will call to order the regular city council meeting at 6 p.m. Tuesday, April the 4th, 2023, City Council Chambers, 201 East Nash Street, Terrell, Texas. We have with us this evening District 2, Grady Simpson, District 3, Mayrani Velazquez, Mayor Pro Tem. We have District 5, Andrea Reese. So we do have a quorum. We will continue with our meeting. At this time, we would ask that Gary Weems please come forward and give us invocation. So if you would stand, remain standing for the pledges.
Shall we pray? Father, we thank you this evening for this significant occasion. You have been good to us, and for this we're thankful. I am aware of your word that declares that you are a God of order. You have put government and authorities into our life to bring calmness to chaos. Thank you, Lord, for those that you have put into our responsibilities. I pray this night that you will let your heavenly reason prevail. Touch us with peace and assurance that you're in charge and that everything's going to be all right. Breathe upon us tonight with your presence. Let the Spirit of God be real to all of us. Guide these in authority, protect them, and take care of us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All right. I'd like to welcome everybody to our city council meeting. At this time, we are on item number 4, which is the mayor and council community recognition and events. It is indeed an honor to have the Key Club with us this evening. I was a member in high school. I was actually the sheriff as an officer, so very familiar with it. Mr. Davis, I see you here. He was actually in charge of the Key Club when I was in high school, so it's good to see you. Is Miss Davis here with you, or no? Okay. But thank you for being here. We have with us, and we've been trying to schedule this for since the beginning of the year. It just so happens that it's worked out to be this meeting that the Key Club president is going to be sitting with me, so she's going to get a really good idea of what city government's about. But Miss Matoya Symphony, Matoya, she has been in Key Clubs from a kid. She was in the Kids Club, the Builders Club, and now she's president of the Key Club. So let's give her a hand, and we want to welcome you today and the rest of the Key Club. Here in a minute, again, it's going to be a difficult task because we have so many people here, but I don't want to get, I want to continue our order as a regular city council meeting. So here in a minute, after we get through with our recognitions, we're going to ask for you to come up, take a photo, and then those of you that wish to stay may stay. If you need to leave, you can leave at that time. So again, we just want to thank the Key Club for being here. I do have a proclamation from the mayor and the city council. But before I do that, does any of the council members have any recognitions?
Mayor.
Yes.
And community members, I'd like to invite everybody on behalf of the city of Terrell
tomorrow, April the 5th, from 5 to 7 p.m. at Terry Municipal Airport off of Highway 34 and Airport Road. Well, really, 400 British Flying School Boulevard is the airport master plan. So there will be an opportunity to provide feedback to our staff and team on what the future of the airport can look like. So we invite you all. We have a lot of faces here today, and hopefully we can see some of you there as well tomorrow.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Anyone else? All right, at this time, I'd like to read a proclamation from the Office of the Mayor of the City Council. Whereas Kaufman County Child Protective Services, a division of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, investigates allegations of child abuse and neglect, provides services to children, and provides help for parents and hope for kids through tips, action plans, and education. And whereas Kaufman County Children's Advocacy was established to coordinate the investigation, prosecution, and treatment of child abuse cases across Kaufman County, providing free forensic interviews, counseling, and advocacy support to approximately 500 children each year. And whereas Kaufman County Child Welfare Board is part of the Texas Council of Child Welfare Boards, whose mission is to support a statewide network of volunteers concerned with the welfare of children. And whereas Lone Star CASA elevates the voices of children in Kaufman and Rockwall County who have experienced abuse and neglect by providing trained volunteer advocates to work alongside children and families so they can achieve safety and stability to fulfill their potential. And whereas REACH, Child Placing Agency, is committed to providing loving foster homes for children to heal from experienced abuse and or neglect who enter into the Texas foster care system until children can return home safely or are adopted by their forever families. And whereas Bikers Against Child Abuse is an international organization that works to empower children by providing emotional support and shielding them from further abuse. And whereas the A. Fern Norvell Shelter Foundation is dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for children and young adults who are displaced from their families or who are involved in the foster care system due to abuse, neglect, or abandonment. And whereas together we can create a brighter future for children, families, and communities in Terrell and ensure tomorrow's leaders have the support they need to thrive and to reach their potential. Now, therefore, I, Rick Carmona, by virtue of the authority invested in me as mayor and on behalf of the Terrell City Council, do hereby proclaim April as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the city of Terrell and ask all citizens to join me in recognizing the staff and volunteers of the many agencies who work tirelessly to ensure the well-being of the children in our community. We want to thank all of those agencies for the hard work that they do. If they would come forward, I will present a proclamation to you and some cookies, and we'll take a photo. Yes, we do. Thank you.
Do you want us to stand behind you? Well, you're tall. You could stand anywhere. All the short. Thank you for doing this. We appreciate it.
How are you doing? How are you?
Okay, we have some cookies for everybody. So here's the logistic problem. We're gonna need to get a photo.
Yeah, do you want to push us back?
Well, I don't know if the podium will move.
No, I meant us.
Let's go back here.
The bodies.
Yeah.
Let's move over to this end.
Y'all come over on this side, okay? Yeah. Come.
Chris,
Come this way.
this way. We're going how? Close.
We're just going to take a moment. I think we have someone that wants to make a comment or a request. If you would come forward.
Since there's so many folks here tonight, I'm Courtney Wortham. I am the president of the Child Welfare Board, one of those organizations that
Mayor Carmona mentioned in that proclamation, and I'm here joined by several of those agencies, including CASA, the Reach Child Placing Agency, as well as the Texas Department of Family Protective Services, also known as CPS. And I just would love to take the opportunity to ask you guys, some of you are wearing blue already, so wear your blue, support our kiddos in the community, because this is what it's about. We can't do it without the community. So we thank you guys for being here. Utilize this opportunity to please spread the word. If you see something, say something, speak up for our kiddos, because we can't do it without you. Thank you.
This is called excellent timing.
She must have heard the phone click.
Y'all come this way a little bit more, yeah.
Can y'all go
Yeah, y'all know. Mr. Sims and stuff.
There you go. You can stay right here. I will, not above it. Here we go. Okay, y'all ready? Okay, great, thank you.
Here's one. Enjoy those tonight. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for everything you do. Well, we want to make sure that we continue all the good work that we're doing, right? Let's give it one.
Okay, you guys make sure you
See that?
Yes.
It's always a method behind the madness. Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. I'll be calling.
So, while I'm up, can I get the Key Club to come forward, please? The Key Club.
No, there's one more.
We got one more.
Taking a picture, so.
We got Key Club. If anybody, yes, you need to get. Come out this way.
Back up.
Thank you. Yeah, come on in. Thank y'all so much for everything.
Y'all get to be in the front. Y'all are
You're
all in
welcome.
the
Y'all.
front. Show her. Look at her, she's like, oh.
Are we able to get everybody? Toys, come here.
I'll have some candy.
Get on. Y'all come on. Look, hey, can you send that to Allison? Use Allison. He's calling us. Can you get everybody? Okay, let's do that. Let Clint take the photo.
Ready?
Ready.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, thank you. All right. Hey, again, thank y'all for everything you do. And those that want to stay can stay, but those that need to leave, you're welcome to go ahead and go. Just depends on, yeah, because it's full. Okay. Oh, yeah, Rosario. Oh, you're her daughter? Oh, well, tell her hello.
Y'all are staying, you're going to stay, but if y'all are leaving, can I get you to come out this way?
Mr. Davis, I'm gonna put you on, Mr. Davis. Come here. Hey, where's the, one more photo. Hold on, right there, or let out. Did you get your one?
Mr. Ward,
No, go.
Mr. Ward.
Okay, bring them to tomorrow's
I
meeting?
can take them and
Sure,
bring them
okay,
tomorrow.
be good, all right. Let's take a photo. This man was with me.
He knows who I am.
Get over here. I want a photo of me and Mr. Davis and, current president. Can we do that? Put her in the middle. She's the important one here. Oh. Oh, okay. Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Thank you, appreciate it. God bless you.
You too, thank you.
You're wonderful.
was driving that center. You knew how to. You doing the part of them truck and stuff, man.
Go ahead and, yeah, twice. You got to hit it. There you go. All right. So again, I just want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to fill out a form. If you're your intention is to speak before the council and the mayor. If you haven't already done so, this isn't a public hearing. This is a regular city council meeting. So we're going to take those who have filled out the form, and we'll ask you to come up. You'll have 3 minutes, and we'll move through those as quickly as we can. So I have a Roman Buckner. Buckner, if you would please come forward and state your name and your address, please.
Roman Buckner, 11190, County Road 309, Terrell, Texas, 75161.
Go ahead. I'm just starting the clock.
Okay. Want to make a few things crystal clear here. So obviously, you guys probably know who I am since the March 20 meeting and several meetings since then. At no time have I been disrespectful, muckraked, said anything to smear anyone's name or any of that manner. Had several conversations with Attorney Brown, Mr. Schumpert, and exchanged in emails, came down to the city, talked about a few things. Mayor, the reason for me being here tonight is, first of all, it seems apparent to me that so many people can very almost mechanically say the Pledge of Allegiance without really hearing the words and really understand what it means. And it was said by someone else, and forgive me for not being able to quote them, that it is people that have rights, not cities. It's really important that we don't lose that. I've asked for one thing from the start of this whole process and the annexation process, and that it be done legal, lawfully, thoughtfully, and morally. And again, I'm not making any statements on the morality of anyone here on the board, okay? There are a number of procedural errors that have taken place since the passage of the resolutions, including the notice, the timing of the notices, what was required to be included in the notices. There are procedural errors as they are, because we understand a lot of talk has been about HB 347, and that's almost a red herring. It really has more to do with Senate Bill 6 and those that went into effect in 2017 that are at play here. So you've got 430561, if anyone's writing that down, 430687, 430695. The notices did not include discussion of a 180-day petition. Notices were also not provided for the extension of the city's ETJ with the UPRR Railroad that took place in March of 2019. Subchapters 43, C4, C5, 430561, there's a lot more. And I'm more than happy, and I'm not sure, I don't see the clock on how much time I have left here.
1 minute. You have a minute.
In speaking with Robert Brown as well as Attorney Schumpert, what he stated to me was, I understand you guys had the agreement of 4 years that was placed out there. We all know, it's well established, that can go up to 45 years. I understand you guys have since updated or edited or amended that to 15 years. But what was explained to me by both those gentlemen is that that's just an offer. The law says this is a negotiation. And he stated to me that if a groundswell of support came forward wanting to extend those, that the city would entertain that and likely extend those periods. So I won't turn around, but I think, as you've well noted tonight, this is a groundswell. This is a regular city meeting that this is probably the greatest attendance it's had in quite some time. There are a number of legal remedies that if we become citizens of Terrell, we are afforded, whether it's referendums on ordinance that are passed, all number of things that I won't quote to you. Mayor Carmona, in 2020, you signed a code of ethics.
Mr. Would you finish your thoughts, please?
Yes.
Your 3 minutes, okay.
You signed a code of ethics to which you expected all of your board members to follow. And I read every word of it. and I'm only asking that everyone be held accountable to follow those rules.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Thank you, Mr. Buckner. Next is Nicholas Ori.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Ori. I live at 10325 County Road 304, Terrell, Texas. We good?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get everything in order.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
I won't take
I'm
the
listening.
3 minutes, I promise. So in the, what was it, the March 20th noon meeting, I brought up to y'all the extension of the no contest agreement that's currently at 4 years. I did see the response that the city had on the media release that y'all were reviewing the legal ramifications of that. So I was wondering if there was an update on that. And kind of to tell on what he was going with is, you know, again, to reiterate, I think it becomes a little bit more palatable of this annexation with the extension that I obviously brought forward of, you know, extending it for current landowners indefinitely. And then the other thing that my father, who lives 4 hours away, he was inquiring as to the deadline for that non-contract agreement. In the documentation that came out on the certified letter, there was no definitive deadline to have that signed. I know in the annexation meetings, it was mentioned, y'all would like to have those back by April 7th, if I'm not mistaken, but I didn't know if that was a definitive, hard deadline for it.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your comment. Now, again, so this process isn't a back and forth, but we are taking notes and we will get back to you, I promise. All right, yes, go ahead. Kimberly Cheney. Kimberly Cheney, good, oh, yeah.
Good evening. First, I want to thank you both for your time. You and Mike have been very transparent and open when we've tried to reach out, and so I do appreciate that. I apologize for everyone. I did not bring my tinfoil hat. Sorry. Jab. I do want to come here. I know that we've talked repeatedly. I feel like I should still continue to speak, that I've heard repeatedly from both of you that this is, you know, while I understand the annexation, I also know that you really want to look after the people that are here and that we are continuing to work towards that. And so I have a couple of thoughts that I would like to pose. Thought number one, I would love to extend the deadline for the signing of the agreements from April 7th to April 11th. I think it's only fair to hear the first reading and to understand actually how City Council prepares or plans to vote without those signatures. And the reason I ask that is because I don't want my potential signature to be held against other landowners. I want it to be fair. And so I ask that we can wait until after the first reading to do that. Number two, with regard to the 15 years, I appreciate it. I would like to ask the city to consider 20 years with five-year extensions. The reason I ask that is it's 2 decades. It allows family members the opportunity to raise their children, to watch their children grow up and go to college. It's a window of time that makes some sense. With respect to non-ag, I request that you guys consider 12 years for those individuals because they will be hit the hardest. First 2 years being no taxes, and then incrementally increase it by 10%, so on and so forth, which is why I get to my 12. This helps them transition should annexation be inevitable. Obviously, I hope that you vote not to, but should that vote occur, that's what I ask for those citizens. And lastly, I would like clarification on Section 6, or I would like Section 6 of Ordinance 2895 to be stricken or revised. There is a portion of that that does cause me a little pause. I know that I've reached out to you gentlemen, and it is the first time that I actually haven't gotten a response back, so I find it a little bit surprising. Not that that means anything, it could be just coincidence, but the piece that causes me pause the most is, it says here, as soon as a practical following annexation, but in no event more than 180 days, calendar days thereafter, the city council shall, on its own motion or upon application by property owners of the annexed area, initiate proceedings to establish appropriate zoning on the newly accrued territory. Thereupon, the municipal development department, et cetera, et cetera. To me, that implies that there will be changes that are made, and I would like to understand that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Cheney, for your comments. Michelle Cheney?
Hi, I'm going to say many of the same things, only I'm going to get a little more aggressive in a couple of areas. First, I would like to publicly state on the record for everyone to hear that my brother is the mayor of Frisco. I've never made a surprise of that. I am not a plant here trying to develop the city of Terrell in cahoots with Jerry Jones. I bought property in Terrell years before my brother ran and was elected, years before. My entire family lives in Frisco. I have chosen to live in Terrell because I love it here. I am entitled to advocate on behalf of what is best for my land and what is best for the city that I live in and love. Period. End of story. Second, thank you guys for being open and willing to talk to us. You did not have to extend from 4 years to 15, but you did. I appreciate that. It shows an act of faith. There are still discussions to be had. I don't think that 15 years is good enough. I think at a minimum, should annexation, ideally, I would like it to be indefinite or the maximum of 45 years. I would appreciate it if you would consider that. There is no risk to you guys if we sell our land. You get to annex it. If you're not open to that, I understand. I would like for you to consider a minimum of 20 years with 5 consecutive renewable terms, with it written very clearly that the city council and the owner must agree. So if the owner says no, no means no. I would appreciate it if you'd consider that. To my sister's point, this is where I'm going to be far more aggressive for our neighbors who are not ag exempt. They are the ones that are potentially at risk of being taxed out of their land in a very short period of time. That is not acceptable, even though it does not affect me. So I would like to propose that they get tax incentives for 10 years without city taxes, and then it starts increasing 10%, 20%, 30%, 40% for 10 years. Why? Because these are rural individuals, right? They have to be prepared to save to be able to pay city taxes that they have not planned for. Next, I would like, to Kim's point, for there to be some clarity on that zoning ordinance 2895 section 6. The language is misleading. It is concerning. 7, I would like, to Kim's point, for the deadline, I don't actually want the deadline extended to the 11th. I want it extended to the 12th, the day after you vote. Again, there is no risk. Our signing of the documents should not be held leverage for whether or not you vote. You have to make the choice for yourselves, regardless of the number of people who sign anything.
All right. Thank you for your comments, Ms. Cheney. Next, Raiden Wade. Raylyn, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I can't, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Raylyn Wayne, 9129 FM 2578. And my comments and issues have already been addressed, but I would like to allocate the balance of my 3 minutes to
So we're not going to yield time tonight, so
Okay.
thank you, though. All right, thank you. Next is Gilberto Delgado. Gilberto Delgado. While he's coming, let's see, is there a Tremor, George, is that right?
I reserve my right to the next meeting because I fully don't understand everything that's going on.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. I'm trying to get as many people as I can. That's the 3 minute. Brenda Gay? Brenda Gay.
I was gonna give my time to Roman.
Okay, so,
We were told we could do that.
no. Well, someone misled you. I'm sorry. I'm the chair. I know, but we are not going to yield time this evening. Jim Gay?
Isn't it legal for us to do that?
No. Jim Gay?
We want to wait
No,
till their conference is over?
city manager. No, go ahead, sir.
Well, I'd like for him to hear it too.
I'm sorry?
I'd like for him to hear it too.
Oh, Sims,
Mr.
okay.
Sims,
Yeah,
yeah.
oh, I see. I thought you wanted to let Gilberto, I was saying, you go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Honor, he can come next.
Good?
Yes, sir.
Jim Gay, County Road 353, Terrell. I don't have all the legal, everything. Roman is going to speak for us at later dates. Again, all I can say is, y'all got to let your conscience be your guide. We come out here, you've heard this before, and you're going to hear it from a lot of other folks, and you don't think nothing of it, but it means something to us. And 45 years, I'm not going to be here, but my kids are, my grandkids. I'm not signing nothing. And if y'all vote the wrong way, which y'all are probably going to, it sounds like, we're going to come at you with all we got. Everybody, we can get our group together. And because you're not doing the right thing, you're doing the wrong thing. It's, I'm a little old-fashioned. I was brought up that way, and I'm proud of it, okay? My dad taught me what's right's right and what's wrong's wrong. And this is wrong. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Gay. Gilberto Delgado. Gilberto Delgado. Did I see him? Yes, sir.
Hi, how you doing, everybody? I'm here because I'm here for like 40 years, and everything, all the time, every year, everything changed. A few years ago, like in the taxes, I used to pay like $1,200, and this year I pay almost $4,000. And everything, all the time, whatever I do in my house, the city charge me. And if y'all remodel my house a little bit, everybody pass and tell me, looks good, looks nice, you do a good job. But the next year, there you go, you charge me for that, whatever I'm doing. So that's for what I'm here, you know. But that's all I can say.
Thank you for your comments, you bet, thank you. Noel Perez? Noel Perez, are they in here? Bedell? Lucio Perez, is there a Perez here inside the chambers? All right. If you would, please state your name and your address when you come forward.
306 Walnut Street, Terrell, Texas.
Walnut Street, okay. If you come forward so we can hear you. There's people that are listening online, so if you don't come to the mic, they can't hear you. And this is a city council meeting, so if you would, please step up to the mic and speak, sir.
I don't speak it pure English, very good.
No, está bien. ¿Necesitas hablar en español?
Pues, okay.
Okay. Pero necesitas hablar con él ahí, okay? All right.
¿Qué es lo que están ahorita, en qué número están hablando?
Mande?
¿Qué es lo que están hablando ahorita? ¿Qué es lo que se está tratando?
I'm going to defer to our councilwoman. Would you, Councilwoman, would you please say that this isn't a time for us to back and forth, right?
Este tiempo ahorita es para usted dar comentarios al consejo y para ellos no pueden responderle. Nada más es para que usted hable con ellos y los escuche, y lo escuche a usted.
But he can reach out to staff and we can visit with him, one-on-one.
So, si quiere decir lo que quiere decir, yo le puedo traducir y se los doy para ustedes.
Está bien, bueno, para empezar, o sea, ellos valoraron las casas a un precio de ellos mismos, de la ciudad o del condado, y subieron las taxas, o sea, si no le piden a uno que no, o sea, un permiso de que uno les puede dar uno que revisen las casas y todo, hay mucha, bueno, como yo también, excepto no las taxas, yo pagaba $3,800, ahorita pago $6,000, y no es el cambio que he hecho yo a mi casa, entonces, nomás el condado da los precios o la ciudad, y eso creo que para todos no está bien. Ahora pusieron nuevas miras de agua y nomás lo que hicieron es subir los precios. O sea, de nada sirvió que pusieran, mejor hubieran dejado las que estaban antes. Era el más básico. Ahora también, o sea, la ciudad está invirtiendo mucho dinero y nosotros todos los o sea, lo que somos aquí, somos que estamos pagando por lo mismo de las taxas y todos los impuestos que están subiendo todo. ¿Cuál es el beneficio de tener una ciudad así? O que traten de mejorar si están subiendo todos los intereses y todo. O sea, no se puede así.
Okay, so we get 3 minutes.
Yo lo voy a traducir para él, ya me dijo que son los 3 minutos, lo voy a traducir y voy a asegurarme que todos los council members tengan eso en frente de ellos para traducir, ¿ok? Ok, gracias.
Gracias, okay.
All right. M. Johnson? M. Johnson?
Yeah, Marshall Johnson, 7316 Rose Hill Drive. And what I want to say first is, I can't really say what I want to say because it'd be carrying me out of here. Why are you people doing this? Is it bad management that you gotta beg for money from people that's back here? I mean, I just hope that you all vote and think about what you're doing to people. Because people are going to have to sell their property, and it's just not fair. If it was 100 years ago, you would never get away with what you all are doing. It's not fair. And I mean, I don't know if you're poor managers or what. I mean, so you want to steal money from us. And that's all this, what it looks like. Everybody I talk to in town that lives in Terrell don't even know nothing about this. I mean, I bring it up to them and they say, well, we ain't heard nothing. And I just hope that you all will think about what you're doing to the people. There's no reason for this. I mean, if you did it the legal way and have a vote, people out here, if they want to be annexed, they'll be annexed in. We didn't ask to be in the city. We all bought property outside the city so that we could do what we do. And I know you're saying we can keep doing what we always do, but you're still putting a burden on us to have to pay for what you want to do in the city. You can't, I mean, you don't have enough police people to take care of what you do here. I mean, I've heard what the response time is for in the city. So when you go and annex everybody around here, I mean, what's that going to do to that? I mean, I'm plenty happy with the county, police, and the fire department. So I'm asking you, don't vote this in. It's not right, and you know it's not right. And I don't know how y'all can sleep at night thinking what you're doing to people.
All right, thank you for your comments. Next is, I've got, is it Perez, Lucio Perez? Is there a Rory Meyer? Huh? Paul Evers?
Lucio Perez is on his way.
All right. Have Rory Meyer be prepared to come in, please. As you come forward, please state your name and your address, please.
My name is Lucio Perez. I'm an investor, but I'm come from 304 South Virginia, 310 South Virginia, and properties around the area. I just not agree with us what's going to happen, and I'm trying to invest more around the city, but since this, I just didn't make sense for me, even for the people around here, for all the people who live in Terrell. I just not agree with annexation, that's all.
All right, thank you for your comments. Rory Meyer. Paul Evers. If you would, please state your name and your address.
Rory Meyer, County Road 353, Terrell. I'm from South Dakota originally. I moved here a few years ago, bought some land in 2019, and did not expect for anything like this to happen. I put, a lot of years of hard work, dedication. I rode bulls professionally for many years, beat up my body to get a little bit of money, to get a little bit of land, to start my family here. My wife's from here, so her family has had land here for a long time and have worked very, very hard to get something for herself to better not only my life, but my children's life and their children's life. And I put everything I had into this piece of land, and if y'all annex it, I have nothing. I'll have nothing to show for it. My kids will have nothing, and it's really going to set me back. I'm 35 years old. I can't really start over again. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you for your comments. Paul Evers. Paul Evers. If you would, please state your name and your address when you come to the podium, please.
Yeah, I'm Paul Evers. I live out on 15587 County Road 355. And I think this is wrong. I spent 35 years out there. I've got kids that are gonna inherit this, and it's wrong. I spent 35 years of my life paying for that land out there, and now y'all wanna take it away from me and my kids. That ain't right. So, I don't know what to say,
Okay.
Robbery is
Thank
what
you.
this is.
Thank you for your comments. Lopez? Is there Jose Lopez?
Jose Lopez.
Right, to me, but I can't be. If you would, please come forward and state your name and address.
I speak Spanish.
Oh, necesitas hablar en español, está
Sí,
bien.
mejor.
Oh, no, está bien, aquí está. No,
No,
todavía necesitas hablar.
Si quiere hablar con el consejo, yo voy a hacer que le traduzca y, y después, no ahorita, si quiere hablar, por favor, hablen en el micrófono y después le voy a hacer que todos sepan lo que usted dijo, ¿ok?
Ok, está bien. Sí, pues lo que necesitamos es que las taxas están muy altas, cada año van para arriba, no bajan para abajo. Ya tengo aquí 35 años. Y no, entre el mes van para abajo, van más para arriba. Y pues que nos ayude un poquito para que se bajen tantito. Porque pago uno, yo empecé a pagar 1,200 y ahorita va llegando a 4,500. A lo mejor por mi edad. Pero no, pues ayudemos tantito que no se vayan tan arriba.
Okay, pues gracias por hablar. Y make sure we reach out to him.
Yes, sir. Voy a hacer voy a traducir eso para que ellos sepan y si algo.
Okay.
Is there Vidal Laredo? Is that right? Loredo? Loreno? Vidal? Is there a Vidal out there in the? Vidal? Okay.
He's coming.
All right. Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and address.
My name is Vidal Loredo, and my address is 304 South Virginia. I'm owner at Terra Mulfer, and I've been trying to grow my business a little bigger, and y'all keep shutting me down. And I don't think it's fair that I need to be relocated. I've been successful since I opened a shop, and it's been so great. And I'm not really happy about this, though. I've been trying to ask for another location. It's nowhere, You're trying to see me off way the road where I will not get no business, though. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna make no money. I don't think it's fair what you're trying to do. I mean, we pay the taxes, we're doing right, we're trying to do whatever or you want us to do to the building, and I don't think it's fair. I mean, I'm not happy with this. I mean, I'm trying to do more investment, turn about more properties in terrible. Is it worth it? I mean, I'm not really agree with this though.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. You bet. Gil Surratt. Gil Surratt. Gil Surratt. Wait till she starts and then start.
Gail Surratt, 15783 Nike Drive. This is sort of taking a turnaround here. You're supposed to have a translator to translate the Spanish-speaking people so everybody can hear it once. You've not represented them again. LULAC will be notified. I want to ask y'all, do you know what involuntary servitude is? Any of you? Each one of you, I'm going to ask you, you're not going to say anything. When you took office, did you swear to hold up the Constitution of the United States? The 13th Amendment of the Constitution did not abolish slavery. It abolished involuntary servitude. And the city is an entity like a corporation is an entity, and an individual is an entity. And when that one entity forces itself on another entity without their consent, that becomes involuntary servitude and violates the 13th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. Each one of you swore to uphold when you took this office. This involuntary servitude is outlawed by the 13th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. We are not able to vote you in. That is our Constitution right. You've taken that away from us. And we're going to work on getting that changed. We're going to work on getting every one of you out of office. And we will see you in court. Because we're going to do it right this time. We're not going to make mistakes. You're running this community. You're tearing upside down downtown. You're taking away people's rights out in the country. We don't want your taxes. We didn't ask for you. We have services out there that we are quite pleased with. If we don't like them, we have the choice to fire and hire somebody else. Within the city, you're stuck with what you got with trash. You're stuck with what your water bills are, your electricity. We do not want this. There are people here right now in this audience that don't have a clue what they're up against. They're thinking you're being nice, you're hearing them out, you'll work with them, you'll extend all this. What they don't understand, we have worked with you guys 30, 40, 50, 60 years. We know what you do. You look like this, and you do like this. We've seen it over and over again.
Finish your comments, please.
We didn't ask for this, and we're going to fight it.
Thank you for your comments. Next, Gerald Harris. Gerald Harris.
My name is Gerald Harris. I'm at 11392 North FM 148. Y'all said this wasn't an annexation meeting, and it's turning out to be that. And the reason why is because we're standing in solidarity with everybody here. We have a Facebook group, and we've gone around town. We put boots on the ground, and we've asked the citizens to stand with us because the people that you're annexing don't have a voice. The people that your constituents are joining with us because y'all have turned the city upside down. And it's unfortunate. I've looked every single one of you in the eyes and told you that I came back here to build my family, to build my business, and to impact this community. And there's a lot of us that are standing back there in that room that have done the same thing, and they're being stripped of those liberties. We're being stripped of those freedoms. We're voting for you. We're supporting you. And it's almost an act of betrayal. Like Gail said, these are people that you've known for years, that you've talked to, your kids have partied with. We've got to be thinking about what's at their best interests. Why are we not taking care of their best interests? Why are we shutting down businesses on Moore Avenue? There's more to it. And we got to extend the conversation. Y'all are threatening my family over there with this and destroying a whole neighborhood. So LULAC will be contacted, but the NAACP will also be contacted because it's not right. It is gentrification at its finest over there. And I'm going to fight for them because if y'all aren't going to, why we elected y'all to do it. We entrusted y'all with this city. We believed in you. You handle our finances. You feed us. Your dad has built houses for us. We've gone to high school with you. We have believed in you. Man, I'm just so disappointed in this situation. The reason why we're here today is because we want to stand in solidarity with this entire community. Not just the citizens that have a vote, because we need them. And as you can see, they're standing back there to support us.
Finish your thoughts.
Okay. They're standing back there supporting us. Now, we didn't have as many people as we wanted to, but there's more to come. We wanted to be here today to show you that we will be back again next week.
Thank you for your comments.
And the week after that.
Thank you for your comments. At this time, we're going to recess for a few minutes, and we'll come back and meet in just a few minutes, okay? So we're going to recess for a few minutes. 15 more minutes. We've gone way over the time allocated for hearing comments from the public. But again, we're not here to silence anybody. We want to hear from everybody, and so we're going to move forward. But if you haven't filled one out, and then we can't recognize you. So if you would. All right. We're going to call the meeting back in order at this time. For the record, we do have Stephanie Holmes Thomas, District 4, with us. So if we would let the record reflect that. And we'll start our public comments. Again, this is not a back and forth opportunity. This time is set aside on the agenda to invite any person to address the council on issues not subject to the public hearing. Routine administrative matters are best discussed with the appropriate city staff before bringing them to the council. Prior to the meeting, please complete the citizen participation form. Y'all were given that opportunity in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act of Section 551.042. The City of Terrell cannot discuss, consider, or take action on matters not listed on the agenda. And again, speakers should limit their comments to 3 minutes and are asked to speak into the microphone provided, identifying themselves for the record, and we'll move forward. Richard Strange, if you would please come forward.
Council, my name is Richard Strange, 11939 County Road 309. Here speaking for myself, my wife, and our family farm and Mr. and Ms. Ham. First, I just want to do a clarification. Before I do this clarification, I just want to say I have to side along with Jim over here, Mr. Gay. I mean, we grew up in the same areas there. I rode bulls over in the arena where his daddy, when they had the mesquite ring over there. We've been friends for quite some time. And we're kind of in this same thing of a heritage type farm. We've been here 45 years. They've been out there a long time. And he didn't even mention, I think they tore the old mesquite rodeo and then they re-erected it out. It's right out there. It's kind of some things that are, it's close to the heart of a lot of people around here. My wife sat on the side of Highway 80 over here and she sold peaches when she was in middle school, sitting on a tailgate of the back of a pickup truck. And when the trains would pass by, she would throw peaches up to the train and conductors would reach out with their caps and catch the peaches. Yeah. And they got to where the trains had slowed down, and that's how we started the business out there, was her out there sweating. There wasn't any air conditioning in the old buildings. There was no cell phones. You had to make a phone call. You drove to Elmo somewhere and put a quarter in the phone. But long story short, there's a lot of work that's happened and a lot of growth that's happened since then. And I just hope y'all really, really, really think this through, moving through your negotiations, the things that you're doing on that. And I'm gonna cut this off here because I know y'all got a long meeting tonight. But I did want to clarify one thing, that there's a rumor going around all around the community. I've been contacted by 4 or 5 phone calls of individuals, and they're saying that it's conversation with some city people, city staff, that Ham Orchard has already agreed to this agreement and has signed off on a deal. Now, I'm just saying, I'm not accusing anybody doing anything, but if anybody in earshot of this finds out that's going on, I don't appreciate it, and it's not right. It's taking my words from a private conversation on the phone and then spreading it around as a rumor. And I don't want that to be to influence anybody. Everybody's grown adults here. They can make their own decisions. But I just want to clarify that to the community, because I don't want to be looked through the community of doing somebody saying I did something that I did not do. So I'm a man of character, and I just won't put up with it, okay? That's just the point I want to clarify.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mary Gibbs. Mary Gibbs.
Hi, good evening. I'm not going to be as eloquent as all these other folks. I'm probably going to have to read my statement, so I apologize for that. I oppose the annexation in Terrell city limits. You know, I left Dallas to enjoy a less expensive, a quiet lifestyle, a small town, which I found here. I loved it. The taxes, ordinance, utilities, and rules in Dallas were crushing. It was like another house payment, just paying my taxes there. I purposely bought property outside the city limits. I have worked hard, my husband, my family have worked hard on our property to make it what we wanted. And we're not doing anything out there that's, you know, not normal, or at least not normal to me. You know, and I support local businesses here, and I think it's important for us to do that. We have a small business as well. You know, I never really understood some of this reason why we had to get involved in politics and this type of thing until recently, of all the things that have happened in America over the last 4 to 8 years. And now I'm seeing it here in Terrell, Texas. You know, the methods used in this annexation solidify the fact that I no longer have a voice. I'm being overrun by this annexation. It's not right. It's not right to take what I've worked hard for, and I work hard. I work in a hospital. I put in a lot of hours, and I put in a lot of hours at my property, improving it, and to have somebody come in and now tell me that they're going to tax me even more than I'm already being taxed for something I don't even get, services I won't even get. You know, the threat to me right now is the city of Terrell. I don't understand that. The proposal to annex rural properties will have the same effect seen nationwide in big cities. It is not sustainable for people to pay the already burgeoning taxes imposed by Kaufman County, plus the city of Terrell. The city of Terrell will essentially be forcing people out of their homes and livelihoods over time. The result will be another Frisco or Plano. No offense, Frisco or Plano, but I didn't move there. I don't want to live in that kind of rat race type thing. Texas doesn't need another Frisco or Plano. We don't want to all look the same. We need variety. We need special places that people can live, a community where people can live comfortably without unnecessary ordinances, high utilities, and more taxes. You know, it's a fact that Terrell is gonna lose some of our resources now, just by dilution of land to people. I oppose the annexation to the city of Terrell without fair and just representation. Terrell must demonstrate they are capable of managing money, showing transparency, haven't seen much of that, increasing communication, and appropriate planning by including the communities before grabbing more. Planning to take over someone else's property by forcing them out through taxation or ordinances is a cowardly
Thank you, Ms.
move.
Gibbs, for your comments. Your 3 minutes is up. Next is Javier Falcone. Javier Falcone. Javier, is there one? No. Laura Dennis. Okay, have Laura Dennis on standby. Glenda Womack. Yes, please come forward if you're in the room. Glenda Womack, are you here? No, you're okay. You're all right. Yes, ma'am. State your name and your address.
My name is Glenda Womack. I live at 853 Beverly Drive in Terrell, Texas. I'm a citizen of Terrell. I have been since 1981. We raised our 3 children here. 4 of our 5 grandchildren graduated from Terrell High School. We love it here. But we bought in town, number one, because I had elderly parents who also lived in town and needed to be close to them. My husband would much rather have been in the country because he was raised in the country. But it just didn't work out. But on the annexation deal, forced annexation, forced anything, goes against our American way of life. Representation is key to our values since the 18th century and even before. By forcing this action with no recourse but to submit is wrong. Let those who are going to be affected vote, yes or no. let them, are you denying them you're denying them their right to choose? Do you want to be a part of Terrell? Do you not want to be a part of Terrell? Are you afraid to let them vote? Are you afraid they'll say no and you won't get this land? How soon after you take them in will they get to vote for their own council representation? Are you guys going to just expand your district area? Or will you add more council seats to this council to represent all these hundreds of thousands of people that you're going to take in? In other words, will new districts be added to the council? Is there any more annexation plans under this grandfather deal? Is another shoe going to drop on us in another couple of years? We don't know. You know. Have you completed furnishing those taken in the last round in 2019? The city services they were promised: water, sewer, roads, animal control, fire, police, and the dreaded code enforcement.
Let's keep order. We've got to get everybody, give everybody an opportunity to speak, please.
How can the city afford to and manage to keep up with city services and all these thousands of acres you're going to trying to take access when you can't keep up with the road repairs and city services within the current city limits? You can't drive down, I'm going to say, 5 streets in this town without running into potholes, or sides of the road caving off, or ditches falling in.
Ma'am, if you would
And you're
please
going to
finish
add
your
more?
comments.
Okay, one more time. Also, on the town square, trains are loud by nature, with or without their whistles.
Thank you for your
And I really
comment.
wish you wouldn't do the quiet zone.
Thank you, Ms. Warner. Javier Falcone.
Good evening, council members. Good evening, citizens. Thank you for
If you
showing
would,
up.
please address the council and the mayor. Thank you. Address the mayor and the council.
Thank you very much,
Thank
council. And thank you very much, Mayor. Longtime resident here, lived here all my life, and I don't plan on going anywhere. I do plan to join the fight. Of course, you know, to protest against you guys and anything that you are planning to do. It must be nice not to have to worry about your home or where you're going to raise your kids or anything like that. For some people out here working 2 jobs to build a future on the property that our parents purchased to have for us, so we don't have to work as hard as they had to, stay in the trenches as long as they had to. They wanted to prop us up in a better position to be able to advance ourselves further than they ever thought of. And so we may do the same for our children, to have them advance as far as they can. And you guys are trying to rip the opportunity away from us, from what you're trying to do. And I just want to let you know now, I have been woken up. I was in the sleeping slumber, I'm sure, like the city has been, how the city still is, as you can tell from the attendance that we've had tonight. And we have humans in history, one who I am wearing a shirt of, who taught us when injustice is happening in our town, in our city, in our state, in our nation, you stand up, you rise up. Whether it's abuse from you guys, abuse from whoever, abuse from not fixing our city. We have to stand up. We have to unite. We have to team up. We will be back in larger numbers. I will be out on those streets talking to everybody I can. Never that I would ever think I would have to stand up and fight. Fight for our community. Fight for my own rights. Fight for the rights of people who don't even have a clue because they're not properly and adequately informed. Thank you very much for your time, council. Thank you for your time,
Thank you for
Mayor.
your comments. Laura Dennis. Again, state your name and address, please.
My name is Laura Dennis. I live at 836 Aurelia Drive here in Terrell. A lot of people know me on Facebook as Laura Johnson. I was born in Terrell. I'm 36 years old. My oldest 2 children were born in Terrell. They're 17 and 15. I'm one of the few registered voters that live here in town that is at this meeting. And as on behalf of everybody in Terrell, we are not for the annex. We are not for the eminent domain that you have forced on our citizens. On behalf of Terrell, you're all fired. You can't leave today, we can't put you out today, but it's coming. The paperwork started. It's just a matter of the signatures. So they may be asking you to fix something, I'm not. You're all replaceable. If you cannot do what we ask you to do and take care of us, we will find someone that does. That's all I
Thank you
have to
for your comments. Is this Maureen Martin? Maureen Martin?
Good evening.
Yes, if
My
you
name
would, please.
is Marva Martin. I live at 15154 County Road, 234 in Terrell, Texas. I think that everybody should take under consideration about this annex. I know you might not want to hear this, but I worked for General Dynamics for 50 years. I'm still there. I make artillery, the Mark 80 series, to take care of everybody in here, everybody in the United States. And I feel like you all should think about it and consider taking care of us. I'm a single parent. I raised my kids here. I had two that played professional football here, and they all went to Terrell School. My grandchildren go here, and my great-grandchildren. And I had always had an honor to live in Terrell because I moved from a little town called McKinney, Texas. And I moved out in the country. I had all 5 of them in college at one time. A single mother. But I'd like for you all to take under consideration. Think about us. Think about the land that we've bought, the land that we're paying for, the land that we have earned the right to keep. And I still want to know one thing, Mr. Mayor. I know you say we shouldn't see it, but I still want to know, where's our hospital?
Thank you very much for your comment. Is it Robert Pike? Is there Robert Pike in the room? Price? Is that it? Rice. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. If you would, please state your name and address.
Robert Rice, 402 First Street. I didn't plan to speak at the council meeting, but after being here and hearing the comments, I thought I would share as someone who is a resident of Terrell. My occupation is a rancher. My family owns close to 1,000 acres outside of the city limits. I had full choice to build a house on any place that we owned, and I chose to build in the city of Terrell because I wanted to be a part of the community. When I found out about this annexation and how you guys have kind of slipped this under the rug very quietly before the new laws passed that require a vote for annexation, I feel like that's very unethical. I feel like, as someone who can relate to people who are in agriculture, that what you're doing is harming agriculture for generations, and that is what has helped build this community. I understand that you want this community to be the next McKinney or Southlake, but frankly, that's not who we are. This is a community that was built on your small businesses. We went to your restaurants. Some of you were my college professors. I've done business deals with some of you that work at the city. And I just feel like it is very unethical what you're doing. You're being unfair to people who started as small guys in small businesses as you, and you're opening up to big businesses, which is understandable. But each of you started small, and you're really pushing out the small guys. And I think that you really need to think about that. Secondly, I would like to point out that since I came from the county, since moving to the city of Terrell, the condition of our streets are worse than they are in the county. And my question for you is, in addition to the problems we have with our police, our fire departments are understaffed, our bad roads, we have roads that hold water, they look like the Trinity River when we get an inch of rain. How do you intend to manage this better with a greater land area that is less populated? How can you manage that? If you can't steward little, how can you steward much? Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. All right, council, next on the agenda is adoption of the minutes. 6.1, discuss and consider minutes from the regular city council meeting on March the 14th of 2023, special city council meeting and workshop on March 20th of 2023, and regular city council meeting of March the 21st of 2023. Is there a motion on item 6.1?
Motion to approve item 6.1 as presented.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Mayor Ronnie Velazquez, Mayor Pro Tem District 3, a second from Grady Simpson, District 2, to approve the minutes of the regular city council of March the 14th of 2023, the special city council meeting and workshops on March 20th of 2023, and the regular city council meeting of March the 21st of 2023. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is 7.1. Discuss upcoming Terrell boards and commissions, appointments and reappointments. This is going to be handled by our City Secretary, Don Stile.
Mayor and council, in your packet is a list of the upcoming term expirations and vacancies on the City of Terrell boards. We have two that are coming up on the airport board. Bill Huthmaker and Sarah Hatley are both eligible for reappointment. We have on the park board, Matt Malone. His term is up April 23, and he does not wish to be reappointed. Katie Smith is coming up in April of 23, and she's eligible for reappointment. We have Planning and Zoning Commission, Jenny Heisel and Danny Stevens. They have served 3 terms, so they're not eligible for reappointment. But Trini Jones is. His term is up in May of 23. He's eligible for reappointment. Zoning Board of Adjustments, we have Dr. Kamika Miller, who's eligible for reappointment, and Karen Jones and Jim Cooper have both served 3 terms, and they're not eligible.
All right, council, so if one of these fall under your boards, if you would please reach out to Dawn and let her know so that we can, are we going to revisit this Tuesday, or what are we?
The 25th.
On the 25th?
Yes.
So if you would reach out to those who are interested in the board, look and see if you have any new applications, and then we'll move forward on the 25th. Right? Next item on the agenda is discuss upcoming meetings. This again is City Secretary Don Stile.
Don, if you let me take this one, if that's okay?
Yes.
So Mayor and Council, Don was kind enough to put a April, May schedule in there. I'll just walk you through the April schedule so it's nice and clear. At 6 p.m. on April the 11th at the Terrell High School Small Theater. That's the follow-up meeting to this meeting and to the, I should say it's the follow-up meeting to the March 20th public hearings. So at the 6 p.m. meeting, what you're going to see on April the 11th is any annexation ordinances that have been discussed at that March 20th public meetings. At that time, those will be available for action on first reading. As we've discussed several times, annexations are items that are done on 2 readings, as are all ordinances in the City of Terrell. So you've got a first reading on that on April the 11th. Just for clarification, April the 18th would be the second reading for any annexation ordinance. And again, that meeting will be at the small theater at Terrell High School. That seats about 1,000 people. And we've got an agreement with the high school to be there. That's not the PAC. That's the location in the inside of the high school. On the 18th, anything that's a clerical issue that needs to get cleared up with the annexations can get cleared up at that time. That does include, as mentioned before, any landowner who is bringing in a late-breaking no contest agreement, or any landowner who's bringing in a late-breaking agricultural non-annexation agreement. So while our goal is to collect as many of those as we can, as early as we possibly can, as we've already stated, the absolute deadline for that is any of those need to be embedded in the ordinance to have the proper legal standing. So while we do hope that folks will get those ahead of time, it is okay if they come in so that they can be combined with the rest of the ordinance on April the 18th. So those 2 meetings, and those are very important. I should note that in advance of those 2 meetings, it is staff's goal to go through all of the public meeting comments, and for our items that were requests for clarifications or questions, that we will attempt to give out responses to those in a press release that would come out late this week. And so we'll make sure that we do that. And just for the record, folks who provided their email address as part of their public comments will receive the press release by email as well. That clears us for then having regular business on April the 25th. That would be back here. One of the things that we'll discuss on April the 25th is the start time of our city council meetings. So I know that some folks have talked about maybe those need to be moved to 5:30, maybe those need to be moved to 7 o'clock, maybe those need to be on a different day of the week. All of that is something I'd invite you guys to be thinking about between now and the 25th. And if we want to make any adjustments to that schedule, we can do that. If you flip to the next page, you can see the May schedule, and we'll be meeting every Tuesday in May. That's our schedule at this time, and you can see some of our other meetings as we move through that process. And do we have a June one in there as well? No, okay. So that's my little summary of April and May city council meetings, and be happy to take any council questions or comments on that.
So Mike, I had requested that we have the meeting schedule on this agenda because I've had some feedback from some of the council as to how many times we're meeting in a month. Now, it's my understanding that some of the council, while they were in Washington D.C., talked to some colleagues and kind of got some ideas as to their meeting schedules. It is tough for some to meet every Tuesday. And if we had to go to a different schedule, if we went twice a month or 3 times a month and extended the time, maybe starting earlier and going later, what I'd like to do is just have some feedback. This is just a discuss, so we're not going to make any decisions tonight, but I think that for the council to be able to put their input in as we move forward, maybe in May we can make addition or starting in June. But I had told some of the council that we would absolutely discuss it. So at this time, if you have any comments for the mayor, please make those known.
I've always had a concern about this because I know what our city charter says. We can always change it by following the process within the law. But I don't think we should discourage people that want to run for city governance because of the time involvement. If it's important to you, you're going to be here. So that's why I'm always here regardless of what kind of day I've had. So I have had concerns about the meetings every week. We've already started meeting an hour earlier since I've been on, a year and a half, almost 2 years. So I'm thinking when I release that time and give you an extra hour and come earlier, I thought I would get release time somewhere else. So I want to be clear. I'd love to have less meetings. I'd like for you guys to stick with our charter. If we feel a need to change, just go through the process to do that. But I don't mind coming earlier if I get release time, because that hasn't happened in the past.
Wonderful. Thank you, Councilwoman. Anyone else?
Mayor, I'd be in favor of having less but longer meetings. I know when I talk to other council members in cities in Texas or throughout the U.S., whether they're our size or a suburban or larger area, that just like us have our 8 to 5 paying job and then come in the evening as our volunteer public service role as a council member, and they're usually meeting, I would say on average, if I had to average, it would be twice a month, and they may meet longer. You might have council meetings that end like at 10 o'clock. Some council meetings in larger communities may end at, closer to 12 a.m., 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm not advocating to have the meetings rescinded to once a month and then have to go that long. I know staff has a very long day where they work from 8 to 5, and I would not want them to be here a full over close to 24 hours. Another thing I would also add is that I'm open to and happy to join workshop sessions. About 3 to 4 years ago, we used to have council meetings about your standard twice a month on Tuesdays, and then we would meet on Thursdays to workshop and really hear from staff and have a little bit more time to discuss agenda items, and then come prepared and have a couple more days to review agenda items with staff prior to voting on those items. So once again, rescinding meetings, would be glad to come in earlier on those evenings and stay longer. And then also, I would not want the meetings to go too long to where staff is having to be here longer than they need to be.
Okay. Anyone else? So if you have suggestions for prior meetings or schedules, get those to staff, get them to Mike, and then we'll take those under consideration at some point in hopefully the near future. I will say, because of the meetings that we have scheduled in April, some of those are state mandated meetings that we have. I don't know that we can do anything to adjust the April schedule, and we'll look at May and see if there's a conflict with one of the dates and one of the state requirements for a council vote. I don't know if that's the case, but we'll look into it. Our next item on the agenda, item 8, is discuss award of animal control. If we could I get a motion to postpone that? That's 8.1.
Motion to postpone item 8.1.
I have a motion. Is there a second? I have a motion from Andrea Reese, District 5, a second from Grady Simpson, District 2, to postpone the award of the animal control vet RFP. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda, again, council, is discuss municipal development, engineering, downtown and major roadway strategic plan updates. If I could please get a motion to postpone that item as well.
Motion to postpone item 8.2 to a later date.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Mayor Ronnie Velazquez, Mayor Pro Tem District 3, a second from Andrea Reese, District 5, to postpone item 8.2, the municipal development, engineering, downtown, and major roadway strategic plan updates. Is there any further discussion? Not all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with unanimous vote of those present. Our next item on the agenda is 8.3, discuss solid waste 10th Amendment contract extension. This is going to be handled by our Director of Public Services, Glenn Caldwell. Mr. Caldwell.
Mr. Mayor, Council, it's always a pleasure to come before you, and I'm excited to bring forward the solid waste service component. All right. One of the things that we've been able to do over a long period of time is to receive service from Waste Connections. They've been with us for 17 years. During the height of COVID, they were Johnny on the spot, where many cities lost service. They were impacted, so they did not receive the quality of service we received over that period of time, which we can definitely say that it benefited our communities. The height of COVID, as you all know, we had record volumes of residents that were home, so the impact of the volume of trash was extreme, and we were able to make it through that component as well. And one of the other things I want to bring forward is the inflation rate over the last 40 years. It's been substantial. Well, we've been able to bring forward to our citizens a rate that's uncomparable to any other city in the state of Texas and abroad. Additional services that we would be looking at if council authorizes moving forward with extending the contract is a recycling component, which we currently have identified that would benefit the community to some degree. Again, this is Waste Connection along with the City of Terrell. We've implemented this new recycling program by staging a recycling roll-off, which is a boring style, out at the Terrell Convenience Station. The component is, this is a soft opening. We did this in February, just to kind of get a feel for whether it's going to add value to the community, and we think it will. Now, this will be open to it's open to the public. We're going to have a public announcement, and we're going to have educational information to go along with that so that we can educate the community, make sure everyone's aware that this opportunity is here within the city limits of Terrell. Waste Connection is also going to be offering up an app, which we've never had before. This is going to allow the residents the ability to ask questions, receive alerts about their service. It's going to give the city the ability to send out alerts through the app as well. Other cities have already implemented this component, and it's been a substantial success. So I think that would be a great add. And obviously, if this is something that we move forward with, this will go live 30 days after a contractual agreement is put in place. Next slide, we want to talk about additional services associated with the amendment. Obviously, I'll go ahead and tell you now, this would be amendment number 10. One of the things that we've experienced here in our community is illegal haulers. Those are individual entities or commercial contractors that come into the community, understanding and knowing that there's a franchise agreement in place with Waste Connection. Of course, that is not a good thing, and if Waste Connection would go off to some other community and do the same thing, they would be fined or it would become a major problem, and these entities would not like for that to happen to their business. There will be legal language in the agreement that would warrant for these entities to have their components. If they have a container coming to the city of Terrell, it will be removed, and they can obtain that component by or through a third party. Currently, the illegal haulers cost Waste Connection as well as the city of Terrell lost revenue, as illegal haulers do somewhere in the neighborhood of 4+ hauls per day here in the city of Terrell. And we estimate that the franchise fee lost for the city is $126.06 per haul plus the $11.90 of sales tax. I can tell you right off the bat from experience, with research, with the data, I can count at least $12,000 a month of lost revenue to the city of Terrell. This will require an ordinance update if we move forward with this particular item. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about what the 10th Amendment would consist of. It would be a renewal of the contract with Waste Connection Lone Star, which would let me go back. Currently, we're in a month-to-month agreement with those guys, okay? And that took effect February of 2023. So we do not have a current permanent long-term contract with them. Obviously, staff recommendation to council is to consider moving forward with an agreement with them during the month of April, if possible, of 2023. We would extend the contract agreement to January 31st or potentially October 1, which would be of 2028, which would be a 5-year agreement. There will be a 7.4% rate adjustment for all lines of business effective October 1st of 2023. This is a discount from the most recent 9.35% DFW CPI. That's your consumer price index. The October 23rd, 23 rates may be adjusted annually to May. Let me make sure we understand. When I say this, there's a term in the fourth or fifth word where it says may. Most contracts, that word is shall. So that is huge for the city of Terrell. Let me read it now. The October 2023 rates may be adjusted annually to reflect changes in the cost of operations as reflected by a percentage change immediately preceding 12-month period in the consumer price index. What am I saying there? What I'm saying is, I can't account for any city that does not raise the rates when they encounter a CPI rate increase. It's fixed in the contracts, and there's no room for negotiation. With this agreement, we've got an opportunity to make a decision at that time, every time. That's huge. And I don't know if they've ever seen that before, but that was something we wanted to negotiate and bring forward. And they accept it, they consider it. Exclusivity language. This language, obviously, again, is to help enforcement of illegal haulers. That's very important. There's other cities that have already implemented that, and there will be a violation associated with implementing that in the 10th Amendment. And as you can see, this is the initial draft of the 10th Amendment. It ratifies and brings forward all of our previous agreements, all the way up through the 9th Amendment. And then you have the amendment with the contract times thereafter. And again, we've got the rate adjustment that may be considered if the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, increase. We may consider it. And again, the fourth item is exclusivity, identifying, addressing illegal haulers with a penalty. Okay, this is one of the items we want to propose for residential rate increases. April 2023 ordinance rate adjustment effective October 1 of 2023, if this is the case. The current service to date, residents pay $14.02. $9.32 is to the provider, and $4.70 goes to the city of Terrell. The same service proposed rate increase October 1st of 2023, the rates would be $10.02 to the provider, $5.15 to the city, and $15.17 cost to the resident.
So, Mayor and Council, I'll just kind of underline this point a little bit. So why talk about October 1st right now? We don't want to bring to you a 10th amendment to our agreement with your solid waste provider unless we're also bringing to you at the same time what that means for our customers, right? So when you enter into that 10th contract, 10th amendment to the contract, you're automatically deciding you're okay with this PowerPoint slide. So we would put on your agenda at the same time both the contract and the ordinance, which would go ahead and put that rate structure in place for October the 1st. Since we know in our negotiations that 7.47% increase is translated here on the page, that's why we're trying to do it all concurrently. So we want to make sure we make both decisions at the same time. The amendment inherently means this is your new rate structure. So we're just trying to be clear about that. And so just in the same way the provider fee goes up, the city fee is increased as well. And that net increase is obviously that $1.15 increase for each individual household. And when Glenn says same service here, that's literally what it means. That's the exact same twice-a-week service that we have right now. That would translate over to being the exact same service on October the 1st.
So you had mentioned something about the recycling that's provided. Is there any, is it reflected in here? Will it be reflected somewhere else, or is it just?
They're going to do that at no cost.
No cost to the city? That's
correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Just wanted to clarify that.
That's correct.
All right.
Okay. Next slide is the.
So
go ahead.
Glenn, I'm going to take this one too, if you
Okay,
don't mind.
go ahead, sure.
So here's the other thing is I know that council's talked several times about the decision between, well, what if we stopped having trash bags and we went to a cart requirement? And because we've been asked by council in the past to continue to show what those differences would be, we do have a contract provision that allows the city council to make that sort of a decision. So as a base, it would be leave it alone, don't change anything. Then you'd have a provision in your contract where if council should ever want to pass an ordinance that goes to one of these two options shown here, then our provider would have already provided us the pricing and we would know what that decision would be. If you do decide to do that at some point in the future, then Waste Connections would be saying, okay, great, if you want carts, then you need to give us 120-day notice, and then we'll make that transition. So a couple of details of that. The first one is that the somewhat terrifying idea that we would go to one cart once per week and reduce their fees, that, I'll tell you flat out, that gets staff worried because I think that's a invitation to illegal dumping if we go from twice a week pickup to once a week pickup. But nevertheless, that option's been floated out there and we wanted to show that to you. And then we also have the one cart twice per week. On the one cart twice per week, that's exactly what it sounds like. If you're on a Tuesday, Friday pickup schedule now, Tuesday, Friday, you'd have pickup and it'd be carts instead of, or a single cart instead of bags. And remember, as disclaimer here, the prices here are for first cart only. So if you had a family requesting a second cart, you'd have to review that, you'd have to determine pricing for that, and that might be that that pricing would be higher than that fee shown here. So again, I wasn't trying to necessarily, open this whole discussion up and go through this entire conversation tonight, but we did want to let you know that based on previous council conversation, we did make sure that Lone Star gave us that pricing. You guys might give us the direction to say, hey, let's leave this in the contract and make it an option. You might say, hey, let's set it aside. We need to get some feedback from council on the options. So, Glenn, did I fill, anything to fill in there, Glenn?
You've done a wonderful job. One of the things I'll add is, when we talk about carts, so most of what you see are 35-gallon, or you might from time to time see a 55-gallon trash can. These are 96-gallon. So they'll hold a lot more content.
I just don't see how we support going up on the cost and reducing I get that it's more, right? But I don't see how we go to the residents and say, hey, you know what? You're gonna get this real nice cart, but we're gonna reduce your pickup to only once a week versus twice a week. I think, again, this is a discussion item, so we need to walk through it and say it, but I don't know why we would change the current service and have a minimum increase, but you're gonna, if I'm reading this slide correctly, we're gonna reduce it and go up, right?
Okay.
We're gonna reduce the number of pickups to once a week versus twice a week.
Yeah, and again, I just want to stick with what the staff proposal is. The staff proposal is on the previous slide.
Right, oh, okay, gotcha.
Right,
Okay,
previous
okay,
slide is
gotcha.
showing you, hey,
Okay.
we're at 1402.
Gotcha, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then staff suggestion is keep going
Yes,
with what we're
okay,
doing.
all right.
And that gets you to 1517. The next PowerPoint slide is just, hey, in the past.
Because we asked for it.
We've been asked to give
All right,
options, and
gotcha.
so we got you some options.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Go ahead.
Okay. The other item that's included in this component is the commercial cart rate. Obviously, as you can see, all of your 1 through 5 hand collect plus the mobile home will increase 7.47% if this is approved.
So we're passing the increased cost onto the customer,
That's correct.
right?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
all right, got it.
And again, this is another component that's associated. This is your commercial containers for your 2-yard, 3-yard, 4-yard, 6-yard containers up to 8 yards. And you can see the numbers reflect only a 7.4% rate increase, which will be also as well passed on to the customer. And this is continuation of the roll-offs, same effect, 4.7% increase on the roll-off. And I believe that's the last slide, Mr. Mayor. I'll
So
open up-
7.4%, but again, it's less than all other municipalities are seeing, right?
Far less
Because
than-
we're in a better negotiating position than they are. How long have we been with a customer of Waste Management?
17 years,
And
sir.
that's worked in our favor. So if we went out and rebid this with another contractor, you're guaranteed that number is gonna be higher.
It's gonna be quadruple.
Yes, I
We've
think
done
so,
the-
too,
We've done
so-
our due diligence, Mr. Mayor.
Exactly. So again, this is a discussion item. If you have any questions for Mr. Caldwell, please ask him now. If,
So you did check with other companies? How many other companies did you vet or check to see what their prices are?
We checked with 3 different companies, and we were able to, as well, to confirm this, receive correspondence informing us as a city, if you don't make this decision to utilize the service that you have, there's no one that can compare to these rates. And we've got it in writing.
okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Will you clarify this when you talk about illegal haulers? Is that related to those, like roll-offs and things?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
So other companies, so we have an exclusive contract with this company to supply all those when somebody needs a roll-off?
That's correct. Most cities have what they call a exclusive, and what happens is only the company that has the agreement, contract with that city, those roll-offs have to be provided by that entity. And as early as, I believe it was yesterday, I see them every day. So we have to go through this process of informing companies that already know that they should not have a container in the city of Terrell. They, you know, they've got cities that they work with. They need to serve those cities because they don't want our provider going to the cities that they work for and providing cans as well. So that's how that works.
So is that a negotiating piece when we look at our rates? To just have exclusively that, company?
I wouldn't say that's the case. I think the component is allowing us to enforce something that has been in place from existence of the contract. We just didn't really do as good of a job as we probably
I'll
should have.
use the example that some cities will be in the position we're in, which is if I see you with a illegal container because it's somebody who doesn't have the exclusive franchise, I'm going to go over there, I'm gonna ask nicely, I'm gonna wait, then I'm gonna notice a couple days later, I'm gonna ask nicely again. Asking nicely isn't cutting it. And so what we have to do is, I think, is go with what many of the other cities do, with just pass an ordinance that says, nope, absolutely not, you can't do it. And when you do it, we'll just take a truck over there, pick it up, and we'll take it off, and we'll impound it, and whenever you, that's the way to stop people from running these little illegal side gigs. So I would just say it's a failure of enforcement that, you know, smiling and being nice about it hadn't really gotten the trick done.
Well, again, it goes to the city and our ability to negotiate the contracts.
Yes, sir.
And we need to follow through on our end and say, hey, if we have a contract with you, we do business with you. If you don't have a contract with the city, you gotta go somewhere else. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if I had an agreement with the city, that's how I'd wanna be treated. Go ahead.
Is there any opportunities for other companies that follow the protocol or whatever our requirements are to offer these services? It's not?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
There is not. That's the purpose of the franchise agreement and the exclusivity.
Okay. I may be reaching out to you to look at some of those numbers from those companies that we compared those things to, and I may just do some calling myself too. All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Councilwoman.
Anyone else?
Glenn, so what I'm hearing is that for a proposed card, the proposed cards, they're 96 gallons, and they would be one-time pickup during the week. And I see the waste management staff here, I believe, in the back as well.
I didn't know they were
So
here.
I can let either of you answer, what is the current, because I mean, I have a trash can, right? But I don't remember how many gallons that trash can is. What is the allowed max trash can size right now in gallons?
It's 35, isn't it? Yes, 35.
35,
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
so you have, that 96 gallon is a little bit more than twice the size of what we currently are allowed. So essentially, you are getting picked up if you can fit all your trash in one trash can, plus a little bit more if we go to once a week, is what I'm hearing.
That's correct.
What do most cities of our size, in miles and population, what do they usually have when they have a contract with U.S. Waste Management? Is it once a week? Is it twice a week? Is it 3 times a week?
I'll get this right, I'll guarantee you. Most cities have once a week pickup because of going to the container.
And
And
they're
And cart, that's right.
they have a cart and they
That's
come
correct.
once a week. Okay, what about, I had a customer, community member once say, and I want to say maybe I'm not sure if they came up with this on their own or that they got this idea from the city of Athens a couple years ago, where they said, why don't we, instead of picking up, if it helps reduce the cost, or levels out the cost with if we provide a cart to them, why don't we do like once a week pickup during the winter, and then in the summer months when it's hot, maybe, animals are, maybe they're out a little bit more, maybe not. maybe we do twice a week because of maybe the smell, the hotness. Is that something that you see in other communities or offer as well, or is that just a problem with staffing?
Yes, to answer your question, Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you for the opportunity. Matt Myers, Waste Connections. So just to your prior point, and what we see around the Metroplex once a week is very common. I think what cities like to go towards is we have large vehicles, so it's less wear and tear on roads, less man hours that are out there. It allows us to staff a little bit easier while we still get all the trash up. So we do see Cedar Heath, I live in Rowlett, City of Rockwall, Forney, all these cities are once a week. So we're starting to see that be very common. You don't see a lot of twice a week in the Metroplex very much at all. For an example, we service the city of Waxahachie. They actually in 2021 went from twice a week to once a week, and it was actually very well received by residents. In addition to their recycling going from once a week to every other week. So there's kind of some changes in service levels. And there were some learning curves at first, but it actually worked out really, really well. So really good things, some takeaways to take from there. From a staffing perspective, what you'll see is you don't really see cities go from once a week to twice a week, depending on the times of year. When we model what equipment is needed, what personnel is needed to service a city, we take into account challenges or different changes in volumes at certain times of years. And us being a national company, we run over 500 routes in the Metroplex every single day. So if we ever need to pull from other yards that we have the resources to do so, and we've done that in the past in the city of Terrell. So a lot of things that we can be flexible with, and we've always communicated to Mr. Caldwell and his staff proactively with it, so.
I mean, Mayor, what I'll say is based on what I'm hearing, I mean, the one thing that I've heard that, keeps me open to moving to once a week with a rolling card. So I'll have to look at the prices here again to compare to what we currently have right now, is less wear and tear on our roads. Just that alone, it helps me continue to consider that as an option.
Yeah, so, and I'll use the city of Waxahachie because that was the most recent twice a week to once a week. We were able to save or really reduce 100 man hours a week on city roads. And obviously they're a larger city, about 14,000 homes relative to what's here, but that's a pretty staggering number. And it really, people were kind of worried at first, but it was really well received and the transition was almost seamless. So.
I have one more question. I appreciate your additional comments. Does Waste Management partner with other cities that you have a contract with to provide, lack of better words, a big trash can bin for any bulk, like if you have like a bulk day where you can place it and maybe have a staff member that can be available on a Saturday from 8 to 5 and within a neighborhood to provide that as a free, we'll call it dump area?
Yeah, so at the convenience station currently, there are cleanup days that
Right,
we maintain. We typically like to prefer rear load trucks because then we can just put it in there, pack it and go. But with the recycling option there and other opportunities, we're more than willing to assist whatever happens. And there's a lot of opportunities to be flexible with that, so.
And the reason I ask about within a neighborhood, maybe not in right at the entryway of a neighborhood, right, but within a neighborhood, because I'm sure you see in other communities, we have residents that maybe at different abilities, or maybe they're at a place in their life where they don't have the same strength to be able to move large items or have somebody that can assist with that to take them to the dump, right? So I'm thinking about other creative options where we could leverage you, or that may be part of, once or twice a year package, as a non-added item that could be included to maintain the contract.
So one thing that's part of what these negotiations have been, we offer a handicap service, and Mr. Caldwell brought up the app that we use. Currently, we don't have your utility billing list in our database to kind of reach out to customers, but when we do get that data, that'll allow us to document disability stops, handicap stops. We do this in many cities where we go into the resident's yard, whether it be backdoor service, up their driveway, and pull that roll cart down. So that is something that we would offer for residents here.
And is that, I think about individuals that are not tech savvy, and maybe fall under that list where they need a little bit more of assistance? How do we work around that if they're not tech savvy and need to communicate with you? Is that a simple
Yeah,
phone call?
so right now, unfortunately, they have to go to utility billing because we don't have their information. So the best way to do it is just simply call us. We have a local team of 10 customer service reps sitting in East Dallas. So it makes us unique to some of the other providers, being local from a customer service perspective. So having that ability to see the residents' information, they can document anything we need, whether it be coming through an email, through the app, or through a phone call. So, yep, or they can call and they coordinate. I mean, yeah,
So
exactly.
that's active right now, is what I'm hearing? Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. On the carts, if we choose to go that direction, do the citizens buy their cart, or are those provided?
No, the carts will be provided by Waste Connections.
What about replacement?
Replacements are included, whether it be a damage, it really just depends on what it is, but if there's a damage to that cart, then it'll be replaced by Waste Connections.
Stolen?
What's that?
What about stolen?
Stolen carts, I don't know if we've really addressed that quite yet, but you'd be surprised, it's really few and far between, to be honest, but we would take care of that for the city and, attack those as they come in, yeah.
And then also with the carts, like right now with using trash bags, people put larger items out there that you guys also pick up, which we love that. But when we go to the cart system, then what if you have something that doesn't fit in the cart? What happens with those items?
Yeah, so the limits that are in place, 5 yards of bulk brush, that's not gonna change.
Okay.
I think it's, the cart option is more from an aesthetics perspective, and also there's a safety perspective, stuff may be blown with high winds, bags being ripped, but the bulk limits that are in place are not gonna change. So if you have a couple bags outside the cart, they're gonna be taken away, no difference than they are now. It's just, the preference would be inside the container, but if unfortunately somebody has more, we're gonna take care of it. Yeah, so it's really not gonna change. It's just gonna be something that's available to be inside the container, so.
And do you have a recycling service for some of the other cities that you have that you pick up the recycling with the trash?
Yeah, so right now, hasn't really been discussions for curbside recycling. We partnered with Mr. Caldwell and his team to deliver 2 of those roll-off containers that I think are really gonna help for capacity. If there's ever an interest, we've seen, surveys go out, cities kind of get involved with that. We could partner with that. If there's an interest, we would definitely want to partner. Any opportunities to partner further, we're willing to listen, so.
Ready?
Well, I can say that I'm rather surprised that most cities do the waste removal schedule is only once a week. Because I know, Mayor, if I miss Tuesday, I can always double up on Friday.
And Councilman, I was fixing to ask, am I the only one getting calls that they missed the trucks have already gone by?
Right.
And I
I've
inform
done it
them, hey,
many
you got a
times.
second chance this week? Am I the only one getting those calls?
Your
man,
app,
I'm the same way.
your new app will remind you the night
That's
before.
correct.
that
Yeah,
you
you know what
pull it
apps,
out,
how I
you
do with
know?
apps, but I must be the only one getting them calls. Do you get one?
Huh? No,
About,
I don't
hey,
get one.
They came early this week, and sometimes they come late in the afternoon.
Right.
And I
Okay.
inform them, hey, you got one more day to catch them.
You running down your driveway.
I know, you have. I know, I'm trying to beat the truck. But hey, that's good. This is a discussion item. So it's important for everybody to ask questions, and then we'll make the decision
One
when
more
it comes
question,
time.
Mayor.
Okay, go
Just
ahead.
one more question. In regards to the illegal dumping, is that randomly throughout the city or just in a specific location? Because I know in my district, I see some dumping by Breezy Hill Park, also off on West End, well, not West End, but Towty Road and William Street. I've actually picked up some of the stuff myself. So what is a plan that's involved in rectifying a situation like that?
Well, Mr. Councilman, unfortunately, I can't give you a sincere answer to that except for if you see it, you identify it, call us. And I don't think there's one time that one of you've called that we haven't gone out and addressed the concern or issue. Unfortunately, people are people, and some of us care and some of us don't. And we have to work with those that don't. and carry the load, and we're willing to, and
I
we've
guess if
done
we
it.
see them get their license plate and report them.
You can do that, yes, sir. We'd love for you to do that.
Well, thank you.
We're gonna serve irregardless.
Yes,
We're gonna
sir.
serve you,
I
sir.
have one more
Thank you.
question for the gentleman.
Okay.
When you have cities that have the dumping once a week, what's the day that you see most often? Because I'm just kind of thinking like him, like if I miss that Monday, I'm like rushing to try to say, man, I can't wait for them to come back on Thursday.
Yeah, so
What day do they?
what we typically see is Monday through Friday, which as a provider, right now we're in your city 4 days a week. That allows us to be here 5 days a week. So we can address issues throughout the week. City of Forney is only Wednesdays. And I don't think that, from a cost perspective, if you kind of think spreading costs out over time kind of keeps things in line. Doing things at one time elevates costs, and you have to have more manpower, more equipment on that day. I don't think that structure really works. Everything we have is typically Monday through Friday. We have some cities that are Monday through Wednesday, but what we would propose here is Monday through Friday, and then we basically split the city in fifths and kind of attack from there. And any change that we have, and one thing that I think we should bring up too, is there's a substantial notification period, education period that we're gonna be taking the responsibility for. So in other cities where we've changed services or gone from twice a week to once a week, we've taken ownership on being the ones who are notifying the cities, while also partnering with the city, but we want that responsibility on our end. So there's a mailer campaign, email blast, really we try to, social media, whatever it might be. So the good thing about this, we have some time before October 1st to really get the ball rolling with this. And I would anticipate getting 6,000, 6,500 carts, because we'll want to be a little conservative with that quantity. We typically, I like to add about a 5% over house counts, just for anticipated growth or, unforeseen circumstances. So probably need a couple months lead time for that, but there's really no concerns with it with being an October start date, so.
Is there an additional cost to have the city logo on it, or would it come with the city logo on it?
I would have to ask, we've got a couple partners in the market, so we have our so they have these plates in their factory with a hot stamp. We typically like to steer away from that if it's vendor-owned, because then it's almost like the property of the city. You typically see vendor-owned, but if there's any unfortunate circumstance 5 years from now where this contract's no longer in place, then we have the ability to move those to another facility, but.
Well, again, we appreciate Waste Management and the years past. We want to continue this, and I hope future councils will continue to work with you. But all good information, good questions from everybody, and certainly have something that we all need to discuss before October. And what's the deadline? If we're gonna make the transition in October, what is our deadline to say, hey, you know what, council's decision is to move forward with one of these options of having a cart?
Can I break that into two questions?
Sure.
One question is, because we've now transitioned to month with Waste Connections Lone Star, in all fairness, we need to go ahead and get our renewal done with these folks and let them get on. After that, I would say, at any point that the city council decides that you want to move to the one cart per week or the one cart per twice a week, whatever that council decision might be, the feedback we got was 120-day notice. So if I'll count backwards, you got September, you're talking about June-ish, where if we told you June 1st, we want to switch to one cart per week or the other option, you guys could handle June 1st?
Yeah, June 1st would work.
Okay, yeah, but I'd like to
that's
go
no
ahead and get their
problem.
contract in place, and that'll
Yes.
be on your 25th agenda, so, yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being
Thank
here.
you.
Does anybody else have any questions before we leave?
With this
Go ahead.
second, a request for the family, if they want another cart, it's additional pricing, right? Additional cost, I mean.
Let me answer that, please. We're going to address that case-by-case basis. One of the things that is a major component for administration is we want to serve the community. So case-by-case basis, we'll make a determination and move from there versus making something in stone, in concrete, because it's all about serving, right? And I think Mr. Sims had a comment.
Well, I'll just
Go ahead
boil
and
it
tell
down to
him. Let
this,
the cat
and we're hedging on answering that because we don't want to be abused.
Right.
If it's pretty clear that there's a guy who is, Well, no, I didn't mean it like that, but thank you so much. If you've got a guy who's pretty clearly bringing construction debris from a construction site every day, and that's why he needs an extra cart, we don't need to give that guy an extra cart. On the other hand, if it is the person who they've got 3 kids in diapers at home, or they've got, you know, an abundance of kids, or they've got grandmom and mom and 3 cousins and, you know, blah, 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 you know, if it's the family, it's the family, and we don't want to prevent them from having that second cart. So we're going to be good stewards of that resource.
All right, enough of the trash talk. I've been waiting to say that all night. Been waiting to say that all night. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Appreciate
Chair.
it.
Thank you, Council.
All right, the next item on the agenda is to adjourn in executive session in accordance with Section 551 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. Section 551.072, deliberations regarding real property. Section 551.087, deliberations regarding economic development negotiation. We are now in executive session. On if you're speaking, please. Hey, can we have one of those?
I sure need to be in the bed right now.
Authorize
Andrea's
the
got
mayor
it.
to execute a 380
Yeah.
agreement with VTRE.
Are we ready? Are we on? Are we ready? Yes? We're going to adjourn into regular city council session and consider action, if any, on items discussed in executive session. Are there any motions?
Yes, Mayor. I would like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to execute Chapter 380 agreement with VTRE Development LLC.
Okay, is there a motion? Is there a second?
I second.
We have a motion from Andrea Reese, District 5, and a second from Grady Simpson, District 2, to enter into, to authorize the mayor to enter into agreement of 380 chapter. Is there any, do I need to say who? We're good? With, who was that again?
VTRE LLC.
Development, okay.
VTRE Development LLC.
Got it, okay. So there's a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries with unanimous consent of those present. Our next, we are adjourned. Thank you.